Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of Killing the Boredom, a podcast where I just talk about movies, TV shows, video games, books, music that I've checked out over the past week and just discuss it and share it with you in the hopes that maybe you find something that you would be interested in checking out. So this week has been a very big week for me. My favorite musician of all time, Kanye West, released his 10th album. So that's what I'm going to talk about this week, and I think that will probably take up the whole episode because I've got a lot to talk about it. Because I've been really excited about this album and really been looking forward to sharing my thoughts on it. So as I said, Kanye West is my favorite artist of all time in any medium, whether that be film, music, anything. I think he's just such a creative and original artist, and he has mastered, so many different sounds and styles, from stuff that's incredibly avant-garde and abrasive to stuff that's very popular and very digestible. And I think that Kanye's willingness to reinvent his sound and experiment with each album he releases is I just find it very inspiring, and I find it very cool. And it's just because of that, going into each album, you don't know quite exactly what you're going to get. And I find that's just such a refreshing experience with an artist. Every single album is very different. You can listen to a song and basically place it into each album just depending on the aesthetic of the album. All of his albums have such a sonic cohesiveness and a very they very much fit into an aesthetic, and I just love the way Kanye does it. I think he's the GOAT, really. I think he's the greatest to ever do it. So yeah, with that said, I was obviously very excited for this album. So this album is called Donda, named after his late mother, who Kanye had a very close relationship with. So it seems like this album is dedicated to her and an ode to her in many ways, because his mother is a theme that is running throughout this album, whether it be songs like Jesus Lord, where Kanye is talking about dealing with the grief of losing his mother, or songs like Donda or Praise God, which incorporate snippets of Donda talking into the music. The rollout for this album was insane, to say the least. With the 3 listening parties, Kanye not saying a word throughout the whole thing. No one really knew when this album was coming out. There were a lot of release dates dropped or mentioned where music didn't come out. But we heard snippets for all of these songs, whether it be in the Beats ads, or just like leaks that were on certain people's stories in Kanye's camp. And a lot of these snippets sounded really awesome. And obviously it created a lot of hype, as well as people who said they'd been to a private listening party saying that this is the best work Kanye has done in years. Because I think a lot of people were a bit disappointed with Jesus is King. And then on top of that, there are a lot of people who didn't like Ye and Kids See Ghosts so much. I really like both Ye and Kids See Ghosts. I wasn't massive on Jesus is King, but I thought there were some highlights of it. I thought the production was still really good, but the lyricism and the rapping was a bit off, as well as the mixing. I thought was there were some strange choices in the mixing, which Kanye said in interviews that it was an intentional choice. Especially, I think the interview he did with Joe Rogan, he mentioned that creating that sound was intentional, but I didn't love it, and I think a lot of other people didn't love it. So with that said, I was very much looking forward to this album. I was hoping to see something from Kanye that was a bit more boundary pushing than something like Jesus is King. And I think for the most part, this album does deliver. There are some incredible songs on this album. So it was 27 songs long. It's 1 hour, 48 minutes. Which was also another surprising aspect of it. I think we all wanted like a long album from Kanye, but we weren't expecting something that almost goes for 2 hours. This was absolutely massive. I think it's the longest album he's ever released. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I was very excited to get into this album. Even though like we had heard all of the songs in the listening parties, there were some mixing changes and some edits made. Um, yeah, so first of all, I'm going to talk about kind of, I guess, some of the things I didn't like about this album, and then I'll get into the things that I really enjoyed about this album. So a lot of people have been saying like this album's too long, and that it's bloated. I don't necessarily agree. However, I think the fat could have been trimmed off this album. I think there are a few songs in this album that aren't great. They're not necessarily bad, but they're just not great. Like they're kind of okay. It feels like there's a little bit of filler. And I guess that would be okay if this album didn't feel like, I feel like previous Kanye albums are so focused and the theme is so clear. Like albums like Yeezus, MBDTF, even T-Lop, even though T-Lop's a bit messy, there's still a sonic cohesion, and there's still a pretty clear storyline or theme running throughout. And as I said, look, the theme of, Donda does run throughout this album, but it's not present in every song. I feel like there are some songs that feel slightly out of place when put next to other songs, and it's not too jarring, but I think that with how many good songs there are on this album, the track ordering, had it been done better, would have really elevated this album. And I still really like this album, but I feel like if the track ordering had been done a bit better, or at least made a bit more sense, or a bit more cohesive, it would have really elevated this album for me. Yeah, so, and as I said, there's a few songs that I think could have been trimmed, like Junior and Okay Okay. Like I don't have a problem with these songs in and of themselves, but just in the, you know, in their place in the album, I just wasn't massive on it. So I think that there can be definitely similarities drawn to The Life of Pablo with this album, in that it kind of feels a bit messy, and there's kind of like this sonic and emotional whiplash to some songs when you go from one song to the other. Like a good example of this is Moon, which is this really beautiful song, and then immediately goes to Heaven and Hell, which is like this, really intense banger. And these are both great songs, but I don't know if they work the best being placed right next to each other. So I've seen people say this is kind of more like a playlist than an album, which I don't agree, because I think there is more cohesion to this album than some are saying. However, I think there could have been a lot more if a few songs were cut and if the track ordering was done differently. But with that said, those are my biggest complaints with the album. I think this is the best album Kanye's dropped in a long time. This is very close to top 3 for me. There are just so many great songs on this, and I think this is what a lot of people were wanting with Jesus is King. So there is obviously still, like, Kanye is still pretty devout in his faith, and there's still a lot of religious themed lyricism, like heaps actually. His faith is still very present in this album. I mean, you just have to look at the track list to see, the amount of songs with religious words in them, like God breathe, praise God, heaven and hell, keep my spirit alive, Jesus Lord. It's still a very religious centered album. However, the lyrics are just a lot more in depth and just a lot more interesting than say the lyrics in Water, where Kanye's just listing off a whole bunch of things that he wants God and Jesus to bring to his life. There's a lot more nuance in these songs, and I'll get into some of them a bit later. Particularly Jesus Lord, I feel like this is one of the more interesting songs Kanye's done in a while, especially in regards to the religious themes of the song. But yeah, look, I'm just going to go through the track list and talk about my thoughts on each of the songs. So we have the Donda chant, which people are memeing on, but I mean, it's 50 seconds. There's nothing wrong with it. And it kind of just it's a good way to just start the album. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's just Selena Johnson repeating Donda over and over again. Um, I don't have an issue with it. I think it's kind of cool. I think it sounds kind of cool. And then straight after that, we have Jail featuring Jay-Z, which was a big surprise for this album. It's been a long time since Kanye and Jay-Z have done a song together. And I didn't love this song the first time I heard it, but then now, the more I listen to it, I quite enjoy it. Like Jay-Z's verse, I thought the first time I heard it, I'm like, that is not the best verse Jay-Z has dropped. But it's actually quite good. There's a lot of double entendre and a lot of references to Kanye and Kanye's songs and Kanye's antics over the years. Um, it's quite a good verse. It's quite a good verse. Um, I'm still not massive on the made in the image of a god. Made in the image of God. That's a selfie. I don't love that line, but the rest of the verse is quite good. And I like the crashing guitars in this song. I think it's quite a good song. I thought the part two version featuring Marilyn Manson and DaBaby is quite good as well. Obviously, fuck Marilyn Manson. And that shit DaBaby said a couple of weeks ago was pretty whack. But like it's a good song, and I think as shitty as a person as Marilyn Manson allegedly is, we can still enjoy an art while also saying, also saying that someone involved in it is, reprehensible or has done the wrong thing. I think it's important to separate the art and the artist. But yeah, look, I'm not here to talk about Marilyn Manson and DaBaby. I want to just talk about the music, because this is, as I said, a great album. Then after that, we have God Breathed, and this is just a really dark, kind of reminds me of like maybe like I don't know. I was gonna say like a dance, like a EDM song, like just with the kind of the driving bass and the choir. There's not a lot of lyrics in this song, and just it's a very atmospheric, very moody song, and I really liked it. But I guess this is kind of also where I said like the flow of the songs is a bit off. Like Jail, which is this kind of really anthemic, exciting song, immediately transitions into this really dark, brooding, song. It's a bit of musical whiplash, I guess. I don't think it makes either of these songs worse at all. I think they're both really good songs, but it kind of points to a bigger issue within the album of the track listing. But I've already mentioned that. I want to kind of go through the songs now. So yeah, I really like God Breathed. And then after that, we have Off the Grid, featuring Playboi Carti and Vivio Foreign. This song is absolutely incredible. It's one of the biggest bangers Kanye's ever made. Like the Kanye verse at the beginning of the end of the song are fucking incredible. The Kanye verses, I should say, at the beginning and end of this song are fucking incredible. The Playboi Carti verse is great. I absolutely love the Playboi Carti ad-libs when Kanye's rapping at the beginning. I think it just works so well. And it's really made me want to see a Kanye and Playboi Carti like 7-song EP. I think that would be absolutely incredible. Like something like Kid See Ghost, which he did with Carti, but with Playboi Carti instead. I think that would be absolutely incredible. Carti seems to really feed on Kanye's energy, and vice versa. They seem to have really good synergy in this song. And then obviously there's the verse by Vivio Foreign, which is also incredible. I've never really heard of this guy before, but apparently he's pretty big in the drill scene. I don't listen to a whole lot of drill music, but yeah, it's made me really want to check out this guy's new album, because the verse he dropped was like absolutely incredible. And obviously the beat switch in this song is awesome. From it starts as a kind of more of a trap song with Kanye and Playboi Carti, and then there's the beat switch, and it turns into a drill song, and it's just such a great beat switch. It's so smooth, and it just adds a lot more. It makes the song feel a lot more frantic, and I think that really works in this song where Carti, Kanye, and the Fivio Foreigner, all talking about their status and where they've come from. I think this is a great song. And as much as it is a banger, it also has like just great lyrics. It's a really good song. And plus the last line by Kanye is really funny too. Um, yeah, no, this is a great song. This is one of the biggest bangers Kanye's dropped in a while. Um, and then we have Hurricane with The Weeknd, which this song's been kind of very hyped for a long time, but by a lot of Kanye fans, because of the snippet that came out in, I believe it was 2018, before Yandy was supposed to be released. And I really liked the song then. It had these really breezy synths, had a really cool hook, and it sounded really good. And it built a lot of hype for Yandy, which obviously didn't end up dropping. We then thought, Hurricane may be released on Jesus is King, and it wasn't. So I think a lot of people thought, okay, this song isn't coming out. And then it came out on this album with a hook by The Weeknd, and The Weeknd absolutely kills it. The layering of the choir vocals over The Weeknd's vocals is really cool. It's just this song sounds just so. It sounds just like it's gotten so popular, and it sounds like a pop song, but it doesn't sound like a pop song from today. It sounds like a pop song from like maybe 10 years from now. And I think this is just another example of Kanye just being ahead of his time. It's I'm not trying to say he's a prophet or anything like that, but Kanye has just time and time again created songs that they don't age. A lot of people say that Graduation has aged a bit poorly, but Kanye just makes these really ageless songs a lot. And Hurricane seems like one of them. I think the beat's really cool. I love how he incorporates the organ. That's another thing that's really cool with this album, the organ throughout. I feel like, though I said there's not as much sonic cohesion as his previous albums, the use of the choir and the organ throughout the album really do bring it together. I think that which it stops it from becoming, though it's not as sonically cohesive as his previous albums, it still gives it a bit of cohesion, which I appreciated. Because as I said, I don't think this album is as messy as some people claim it to be. But yeah, like the organ on Hurricane is awesome. I actually prefer it to the original synth. There's a cool Lil Baby verse in this song as well. And I think Kanye's verse in this is one of the best off the album. He's just talking about how, how his life kind of fell apart despite his, not fell apart, but despite how successful he is, how he still, has gone through a lot of, trouble. He's still having a lot of difficulties in his life. And I enjoyed it. I also thought his humming was quite funny on it too. Okay, and then after that we have Praise God featuring Travis Scott and Baby Keem. This is another banger. I really enjoy the first minute and a half of this song with Donda finishing Travis's verses and Kanye and Travis playing off each other. The Devil My Op line is also really good. I fucking love that line. I didn't like when Baby Keem came in though, not because of his performance, but I didn't like the beat change. I really enjoyed the choir. I thought it just gave it a really, I love Kanye is so great at creating these really cinematic, atmospheric songs, and I felt like there was a lot more atmosphere in when the choir was on than when the organ came in. So I didn't. I felt like there was a bit of wasted potential in this song. I would have liked to hear a bit more Kanye and a bit more. Maybe it would have been better had they just kept the choir in and then maybe a bit more Travis and a bit more Kanye. I thought they played off each other really well. Like I said before, I'd love to see a Kanye and Playboi Carti, 7-song EP. I think a Kanye and Travis Scott album would be awesome. I think that would be awesome. And I hope that he continues to pair up with artists like he did with Cudi and like he did with Jay-Z. I would love to see him do it with Travis and Playboi Carti, perhaps even on the same album. That would be really cool. Then we have a little run of songs, which I think they're all, Jonah I thought was pretty good. I think Vori has a really cool, like nice little hook on this song. Um, Speaking of Vori, I think he absolutely kills this album. Absolutely kills this album. No one's really speaking about how good he is on this album. On Jonah, on God Breathed, and on No Child Left Behind. He absolutely kills all of these songs, and I would like to really see him blow up. I think he's one of the standouts of this album, actually. I really enjoyed everything that he had to put in on this album. I like the beat of Jonah. I really actually quite like the beeping sounds. I know some people didn't weren't big fans of it, but I liked it. I liked the kind of washy, spaced out synths. I thought this was like a really chill song. I thought it was good. Then we have OK OK and Junior. I'm not massive on either of these songs. I don't hate it. Junior's kind of funny. It's kind of like fun. But yeah, I don't love either of these songs. I think they're probably the worst songs on the album. And then after that, we have Believe What I Say. This is, a bit of a fan favorite. After hearing a snippet late last year of it, we didn't think we'll get this on the album. And it's nice. It's a really, happy, fun song, kind of like a song that you would play at the beach with your friends. I think, I think it kind of, I feel like Kanye put this in the album because he knew how much people love it. Because it doesn't feel like a lot of the other songs on the album. It feels very different. Like it doesn't have any of the organ elements, any of the choir elements. Even the kind of washy synths that are seen in other songs such as OK OK and Jonah. It doesn't have any of that. But I mean, like imagine how good Kanye's catalog of unreleased music is, where he can just throw a song like this in. Like this is a good song. It's a good song, and I like it. And I feel like I'm surprised that it's not as big as it is. I thought it would, be one of the biggest songs on the album. I think it's maybe the sixth most popular. But yeah, I mean, it's a good song. I don't have any qualms with it. I like it. I just don't really have much to add with it. I think it's just a really, fun, enjoyable song. After that, we have 24, which a lot of people seem to love. I don't love it. I think it's okay. Remote Control. I actually quite enjoy this song. I think it's got a fun beat. I really like the whistle, and I thought the Glob Go Glub sample's quite funny. Then after that, we have an incredible 3-song run. Moon with Kid Cudi and Don Toliver is just absolutely beautiful. The way that Don Toliver's like really high pitched vocals and Kid Cudi's really low pitched vocals just kind of coalesce with each other is really beautiful. And this song is just it's such a beautiful song. It sends chills down my spine every time I listen to it. Incredibly relaxing, incredibly just beautiful, and just points to, even though Kanye's not in this song that much, it just points to how good he is at bringing different people together and bringing the best out of them. I love this song. Moon's great. Then we have Heaven and Hell, which is just incredible. Great Kanye verse. The beat drop with the sample is just absolutely phenomenal. Just crazy. I wish this song was longer. Absolutely love it. And then we have Donda, which I think is really, another beautiful track, sampling Kanye's mother, talking about him and, these choir in it and Tony Williams vocals. It's just another beautiful song. After that, we have Keep My Spirit Alive featuring Casey, Conway the Machine, and West Side Gun. I like this song. I think it's got a good hook. I think, both of the Griselda boys and Kanye all have really good verses. Just a good song. And then after that, we have for me, the best song on the album, which is Jesus Lord. I think this song is one of the best songs Kanye's ever made. It might be his second best after Runaway. And I think this song is kind of, a lot of people kind of not make fun of me, but kind of like, kind of like don't kind of give me shit for being like Kanye's, not as good as you claim he is, because I'm pretty obsessed with the guy, to be honest. But Jesus Lord for me just cements why I think Kanye is such an incredible artist. It is it's basically a perfect song. Like the beat is great. It's got the mix of kind of like the organ, which is a bit more a bit more peaceful and a bit more hopeful, and then underneath it has this really dark synth, and they just like the contrast between them really, it emphasizes this conflict Kanye is talking through in the song about having faith in Jesus, but also going through so much pain, and it kind of questioning, just this conflict that he's having of missing his mum, and wanting to die, but also finding redemption in Christ, like, and then on top of that you have this haunting like this haunting, I think, I don't know if it's a sample, but vocal of someone saying Jesus Lord, and as the song progresses, the choir starts to come in on it progressively louder. It's just really haunting, and then you have a brilliant Kanye verse, which is emotional, like brings tears to my eyes when I listen to it, but also just perfectly weaves together these themes of grief, faith, childhood, childhood trauma, not childhood trauma, but the adversities of childhood, like, and then brings, and then puts in this this tragic story of violence and family. And it's just an incredible verse. And then he has a great feature by Jay Electronica, which, whereas Kanye has this sort of more personal, emotional take on, death and violence, Jay Electronica comes in with the more political take, and it creates a really cool, sorry, what's the word? It's a really cool interaction between them. Like these two verses, which are very different, kind of two sides of the same coin, and then all the these brilliant allusions to religion by Jay Electronica. And again, it's just Kanye always gets the best out of his features and knows how to, what features are the best for each song. Great verse, and then to tie together these themes of family, loss, grief, the political nature of violence. He ties it all together with this voicemail from what's his name? Sorry, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I should have remembered. I'm not too familiar with. Sorry, I should remember this. All right, Larry Hoover Jr. Yeah, Larry Hoover Jr. Yeah, so it ties together all these themes in this voicemail, which is just heartbreaking. And about Larry Hoover Jr. is the son of Larry Hoover Sr., who was incarcerated, is in pretty for, I think, conspiracy to murder, because he was the head of the Gangster Disciples. But he's in these incredibly inhumane living conditions in the prison he's in. It's 23 hours in solitary confinement and 1 hour exercise, which Larry Hoover Sr. was when Kanye met up with Trump in the White House, he was trying to get Larry Hoover Sr. clemency. So yeah, it's just an incredible song. The production's amazing, the feature's amazing. Kanye's verse is incredible. He just ties together all these themes absolutely, it's absolutely airtight thematically. And I think this is the centerpiece of the album. This song really just elevates the whole album for me. I think it's a beautiful song. And then after that we have a collection of pretty good songs. New Again has this really cool, synth, really bouncy. It's a really bouncy song, similar to Pure Souls, which is also really bouncy and fun. And towards the end, we have, Lord, I Need You, which is another brilliant song on the album, which is Kanye talking about, his relationship with Kim. And it's beautiful. Kanye's vocal performance on it is really good. The verses on it are really nice. The sample on it is beautiful. The sample of the person singing. It's a beautiful song. And then to finish the album, Come to Life and No Child Left Behind. Just two beautiful songs. Come to Life has a really awesome piano ballad. I think it's by Tyler, the Creator. That hasn't been confirmed. And then No Child Left Behind has some really awesome organs. Again, Vori kills it. And then a beautiful vocal performance by Ye again. And then after that, we have the part 2 songs. So Jail part 2, Okay part 2, Junior part 2, Jesus part 2, Jesus Lord part 2, sorry. These add about 20 minutes to the runtime of the album. And I can understand why that would annoy people. But the way I see it is that they're basically bonus tracks. And bonus tracks can, they're like an after credits scene. They can elevate a movie for you. Like an after credits scene can elevate a movie for you, make it better for you, but it shouldn't take away from it. Unless it's directly contradicting something previously said in the movie or the art, which these bonus tracks aren't. They're literally just the songs, some of the songs that were previously on the album with an added verse or two. There's nothing else really changed about it. No production elements or nothing like that. So I think like people saying, well, all the part 2s are a waste of time. You don't have to listen to them. I think No Child Left Behind is that's the ending of the album. And that's very apparent by the way that it ends. Like it feels very climactic in that sense. Like the soundscape of it sounds very climactic. And you can, even if you look at the second listening party where Kanye ascended, or even when he got married to, when there was the symbolic remarriage of Kim and Kanye at the end of the third listening party to this song, it's very clear that this song is supposed to be the end of the album, and the songs after that are bonus tracks. So yeah, with that said, I thought this album was great. As I said, I think that if a few songs were cut, like Junior, Okay, I know people aren't going to like this, but 24 maybe, and the track order was redone, I think this album could be like a high 9 out of 10. But just because of that, I'm gonna bring it down to like a high 8. I still think this is a great album, and I think that in years to come, people will look back at this and be like, because it's gotten a lot of shit, to be honest. I think people will look back at it and be like, like they did with Jesus, like they did with, Pablo, like they're currently doing with Ye. I think people will come around to this album and realize that Kanye was once again pretty ahead of his time. And it was awesome to get new Kanye music, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future. Look, I would love to talk more about the album. I'm sorry, I've kind of not dived as in depth as I would like to, because I've actually got I've got class now for uni. But thank you for listening as always. Like and subscribe, follow, all that jazz. If you have a question or want to check something out, you can comment, or you can send me an email at killingtheboredompod@gmail.com. And yeah, thank you for your support and for listening. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.